Alright, Seeking a Thread. As you know, I do a radio program and it's called Threading the Needle. It used to be called Searching for a Thread. And every now and then I like to do a video edition of what I did, do a vinyl community edition of what I did on the radio. This past Saturday, what was it, May 2nd. My show is every other weekend, or every other Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on WRFI, WRFI.org. It's every other Saturday, so I know that can be tricky to follow, but I do put it up as a stream and a podcast. You can find those links below. You can listen live, and I put up all the music as I'm playing it live. You can see what songs, and I put pictures up on Instagram as I play them. That just goes to stories. So I thought I'd talk about my radio show and show you the records that I played. It was a concept I've been thinking about doing for a little while, doing a video of it. I just decided to jump in and do a radio show on it. And I would say I sort of isolated to like the best versions of this, but I just figured I have a lot of records that sort of fit this metric, and I'm calling this solo visionaries, non-rock solo visionaries. And what I mean by that is artists that use the studio as an instrument, layering and overdubbing different instruments by themselves. So it's usually the solo artist creating a band or a multi-track sort of experience. It might sound like a band, it might sound just like multiple layers happening, and they're doing it all themselves. I wanted to sort of focus on 70s, 80s, and specifically not rock. You know, it's very common now with technology and the way recording goes now for artists to make all kinds of different sounds themselves. But I wanted to focus on artists that like really were recording specific instruments and overdubbing, and not just like doing digital computer-based sort of multi-tracking that it's happened within the last 20 years. Not that I don't like that stuff too, but I wanted to focus on like real organic creations done from a solo perspective. So I called it Solo Visionaries. We're listening to a French artist, a Shelter Profondeur 4000 on the Growing Bin label 2018. I think this was a Stunty recommendation. I can't remember, but it turned up for a price I was like very happy to snag for. It's cheap. And recorded and mixed in Belleville, Paris. The artist, I don't know his name, it's not listed here, but in any case, this kind of fits that. It's a modern release. It sort of fits with the criteria I was talking about, but I didn't end up playing this on my radio show. I brought it with me, but this is what we're going to hear as I discuss this. So I'm going to run through these pretty quick. A lot of these are records I've shown, some maybe not, some are old, some are new, but it's all basically with small outside participation from some other artists. It's all basically done by one artist, and this is in no order. I played the radio show is in a whole different order. This is just the way the records ended up. Big one for me. I was really happy to get this from Smooth Sick Lights years ago. Plucuba by Nuno Canavaro, 1980. What is it? 1987. 1988 on the Alma Romanta label out of Portugal. Drag City reissued this. The Mokai Jim O'Rourke label reissued this. This is a long-form sound art experimental avant-garde record that's got some very beautiful and very sort of striking moments to it. Musica para 70 Serpentes, Nuno Canavaro. Tough one to sort of isolate one track from, but I did. And many of the tracks are just untitled, and that's one of the ones I played. So again, I'm jumping all around. I played the Bayard Lancaster Personal Testimony Volume 1, only one volume. This is done with Bayard overdubbing, different reeds, a little piano too. I actually need to upgrade this copy. It's not the cleanest copy of all time, but I got a good deal on this. I think this was last year. Played this. This is Bayard solo. I played the one where he does like bass clarinet, like two different bass clarinets. I think it was Brother Man is what track I played. And the link to the radio show, this radio show that I'm talking about, is below, as well as the archive of all the shows. I talked about the Cosmic Tones Research Trio. Here's the solo released by Harlan Silverman. Music for Stillness. Still coming around to this one. It's a little more subtle, a little more quiet. It is good. It's good. I think I prefer the trio records a little better, but I do really enjoy this. This is beautiful. Music for Stillness. It's all him. And he's recording flute, cello, viola, piano, Fender Rhodes, Roland JX10 synth, modular synth, slide guitar, crystal bowls. There's a lot going on there, but this is a subtle, nuanced record. I remember getting this in Pittsburgh. People on Sunday, I got this discounted at Government Center by Dominique Dumont on the Leaf label, I believe it is, 2020. Yep. This kind of maybe fits more of a modern criteria, as it is modern, but that was the last track I played on the show. This one, a Chris Cole recommendation years ago, Eric Ross, Etudes, electronic Etudes, song for synthesized soprano. I know Stunty just got this. He played it on his stream, I think last week. And it's different electronic etudes for piano, bassoon, synths, cymbal, clarinet. There he is, Eric Ross. I know the cover doesn't look very good, but this is a pretty wild record on the Doria label. A label I know I've talked to Chris Cole about. I have a record from the Doria label on the way. I have not been ordering a lot online lately, but I did order something on the Doria label. Here's one I know a few might be looking for. This has kind of been one that is becoming a VC favorite, I think. Scott Fraser Architecture. Again, you look at this and just think this looks kind of square, but no, this is pretty wild stuff. This is all Fraser. I think he has a little bit of help. Peggy Cannon played Santur on 2 tracks. David Acker played bass clarinet on something else. So there's a little bit of help, but it's mainly all him doing classical guitar, Farfisa organ, Casio MT30, bass, clarinet, fiddle, electric guitar. Yeah, so Scott Fraser Architecture. I know, is Jose talking about reissuing this? I don't know if that's true. I know he's interested in this record. I don't know if he's found it yet, but this is from like I think 87 or 86. Here's a classic, Henri Texier, Amir, and this is not the very first pressing. It's on the JS Disc label. I do need to upgrade this actually. It's not in the greatest shape, but stunning wordless vocal, cello, spiritual jazz record. It's such an amazing record. Henri Texier is from 1976, Amir. This is more sound art. Probably doesn't quite qualify, but it is a solo artist. Raphael Toral, Wayfield. Obviously, this looks like a certain cover you may recognize. First time on vinyl reissue, which was CD originally from 1995. This came out a few years back now. Toral is a Portuguese guitarist going into sort of experimental ambient texture zone on guitar. He's got a few records of this ilk. One I really want to find the original of. This is the expanded. Actually, it's not expanded. It's spread out over 2 LPs. The original, I'm just a little tight. I'm going to keep it. The original is a single LP on the Thistle label, talking about Ernest Hood, the multi-instrumentalist, acoustic guitar, zither, and field recordings. Neighborhoods. This is from 74, 75 as well. Really want this original if anyone has it. But reissued and expanded to a double LP, spread out properly by the Freedom to Spend label. Great label. This came out 2019 now. An absolute beautiful, childlike, and you'll hear childlike children on the field recordings. A lot of sort of almost primitive American music, but of course you get a lot of zither, and there are synthesizers on this too, and it's all played by Ernest Hood, solo visionary. Amazing reed overdubbing by Michel Portal, Déjà Me Solo, on the Dreyfus Jazz label, or the Psy label, I think it is. This is a record, you can find this for 20 to 25 bucks. There's some absolutely amazing stuff. The song African Rituals is kind of the one. I've played that before. I played En El Campo, the first track on the record. Portal, all compositions, alto, tenor, clarinet, bass clarinet, contrabass clarinet, tenora, soprano saxophone, sopranino, bandoneon, and percussions from 1979. Here's a great one on the Limelight label during their peak period of psychedelic and avant-garde. Don Robertson's Dawn. He's not really, this is an early new age record. He is not really in anything that I can remember, but this is really cool, sort of cosmic, sort of meditative psychedelic music, but not psychedelic rock. Nice white label promo on that. I highly recommend this one. It's not that cheap. This is like a $60 record at the time. I don't know if it's gone up or down from there. I don't think it's really gone down. But very a head scratcher in a good way. And he does have a little bit of help here, but it's mainly all him. He plays guitar, harp, jaturang, organ, piano, celeste, bells, claves, and tabla. And there's a little bit of vocals on here from Susie and Marcia. And Rand Elias playing bass guitar on the track, but it is mainly all Don Robertson, all songs written by Robertson. Dawn, I think this is from 68. The Limelight label 67, 68, 69 was doing some incredible stuff. I called the show Solo Visionaries. Again, link below to hear the entire radio show. Here's one of the crown jewels of this type of thing. Many of you will know this. This is another VC classic. Solo percussion, Cleave Posar. On the radio show, I was like blanking. I'm like, his real name is Robert something. Totally spacing. It's just Robert Posar. That's his actual name because he played under that name as a drummer in other records. But this is his only solo record and his only record under Cleave Posar from 1974. Apparently, this is not going to ever get reissued. I think it possibly could. They've said that about other records. But this has gotten to be very expensive. Years ago, there were dead stock copies of this going around. I got this from Campo in Australia, and this is solo percussion, just like it sounds, but he's overdubbing and running from one thing to another on Echoplex, tape, you name it, percussion, double bass, tuned glasses, live bicycle wheel. It just needs to be heard. This is a stunning, amazingly played record. It has parts where our ambient has parts where it's sort of free music, improvisation, modern classical enters into the realm here. Such an amazingly beautiful album. This is a long time, will be with me forever, I think. Farfisa organ, vibraphone, and a lot of it played through that Echoplex, recorded in Boston. Cleave Posar, Robert Posar. He's done stuff with, Bob James, Bill Dixon, a few people. He had a record on Savoy under the Robert F. Posar Ensemble. But this is, hopefully it does get reissued. I'll probably buy the reissue. Mine has some ugly marks on the record, but it does not affect play at all. Plays completely clean. I did not know about. This was another Stunty Illumination from 2023. This is one of my favorite records in the last 5 years. This is a new release, Natalia Baylis, all recording on this rare Italian synthesizer she found. It's called Mermaids. This is on the Touch Sensitive label. Hopefully you can find this. I wanted to get it. I loved it. Streamed it. I'm like, I'm gonna find that. A copy popped up for $15. Which I didn't buy. The next day was 10. The next day was 5. So I got this for $5. Whoever wanted to sell it just wanted to move it. I don't know. This is a stunningly beautiful, beautiful album. Again, more field recordings. The most warm organ sounds I've really ever heard are on this. Natalia Baylis. She's an Irish artist. Her other records have been good. Nothing has quite blown me away like this has. I'm kind of curious to hear what else she can do.
Yellow and purple are opposite each other on the color chart. If you mix them together, you almost get black. If you put yellow and purple side by side, the yellow looks more yellow, the purple looks more purple. Blue and orange are opposite each other on the color chart.
Jacques Thelot, big one that all recorded solo. Quand le son devient aigu, j'étais la girafe à la mer. It's when, again, I always go through this. When the sound gets noisy, I think, becomes when the sound gets lost. Throw the giraffe to the sea. Future, on the Future label. This is a Nurse with Wound list record. This is a classic reissued by Souffle Continu. All compositions, everything played by Jacques Thelot. 1971. On the, of course, classic yellow Futura labels. This is another one that big time favorite for me. Here's one that I've talked about years ago, and because of the Tacoma label, a label I've collected, at least for some of it anyway. Finally, these got reissued last year. Finally, for the first time. But we're talking about Phil Yost. 2 records on Tacoma, and then another one that he released privately. And not really a primitive American record. It's got that as an influence, as folk music an influence, but there's psychedelic rock as an influence here. I mean, he plays a little bit of jazz. On this recording, I play various combinations of soprano sax, flute, electric guitar, bass, maracas, and tambourine. This is Phil Yost Bend City from 1967. Amazingly awesome. The guitar overdubbing kind of reminds me a little bit of Gunter Schickert. That's another artist I could have played for this show, but all recorded in 66, 67. Don't know how he ended up on Tacoma, but this was in Berkeley, California. I believe that's when Fahey was out there, so he must have met Fahey and released it. Only one original pressing of this. This didn't get reissued on Tacoma like a lot of Tacoma stuff did, but I'm curious how those reissues sound from last year. I don't remember the label off the top of my head, but somebody discovered the Phil Yost archive and got access to all this music, so you can get the reissues. The originals are a little pricey, but being that I love the Tacoma label and I love this music, I went after these originals a few years ago now. Alright, here's one from a box that I just got, the Lino Capra Vaccina. This is the 3 LP box set. I won't show the whole box, but I got it through Soundome. This is absolutely amazing postmodern, modern classical, Italian experimental music. And this is a very rare original, Antico Adagio. Actuala is the band that he was in previously for a bit with Walter Maioli, and he was making all of this solo recordings with all kinds of instrumentation going on. There's not a lot of liner notes to this one, but this is all mainly recorded by Lino Capra Vaccina. This is, again, Antico Adagio. It's originally from 1978, and the cover is a little different than this, but like I said, it comes in a really nice cloth, sort of textured box set. I got from Soundome. I don't know if they still have copies, but this is amazing Italian experimental ambient music. Really good. Cheap one on ECM, Nana Vasconcelos. Mainly percussion driven, but does do overdubbing. There's a little bit of help from Egberto Gismonti playing some guitar, just a little bit. Otherwise, it's mainly him doing vocalizations and percussion. Pretty cheap album too. Saudades on ECM. This is from, I think, 1980. Yep. This is the American pressing. I'll talk more about this artist later, but this is one I was desperate to get for a little while. Francis Bebe Aquaba for Sansa. All overdubbed and played by Bebe, doing the weird vocals. He does guitar, although I don't know if there's guitar on this one, but he's a great guitarist. This is on the original music label, US label, though this exists as a German pressing with a different title and different cover. I'll insert that here, which I really want to get and compare to this, because I don't think this is the best pressing. The record's in fine shape, but he does all of the music on this, and this is just amazingly weird and groovy music. If you like William Onyeabor, you probably know about Bebe, but another private press, New Age, David Casper here in Yonder. here in Beyonder. He has a few records released on the Hummingbird label. Pretty interesting stuff. I noticed that Numero Group has licensed some of the music, but though I haven't seen a reissue of this. Not too expensive. It's about $30 or $40 record. If you might be a little higher, but really nice use of acoustic instruments and new age and synthesizers. Very much the trend that was happening in the early 80s, but a wonderfully addictive sound that I like to find plenty of. So I played a track from this. David Casper's from 1981. All right, the Zither Suite by Organic Pulse Ensemble. The Swedish musician recording everything. This literally sounds like a full-on spiritual jazz band, but he records all of it. Reeds, guitar, drums, bass, all of it. It's an incredible accomplishment, this record, this suite. I have 2 of his records, I think. This one, 2024, on the Ultrani label. Some of his records have gotten to be pretty collectible. This is the Japanese reissue. I think it's from the early 80s of a record. I really want to get the German original. This is a stunner. This is another highlight for me, like all-time record. Anthony Moore's Pieces from the Cloudland Ballroom. They're using like Santur and Tempura and just this repetitive, just beautifully golden drone music. And some vocal sort of experimentation too on this. It's originally from 72, and this is recorded and produced by Uwe Nettelbach, Faust producer, recorded at Faust Studio in Voom, I believe it is. But Anthony Moore is English, and that's where this record comes from. That's where he comes from. Got this at Au 33 Tour in Montreal. But a Japanese pressing. This is the first track I played on the show. Christopher Bear's Fools on the Music from Memory label. Gorgeous synthesized music and marimbas and percussion and a little bit of, it's got that fourth world, more modern fourth world sound that we're kind of hearing a lot these days. Christopher Bear is in Grizzly Bear. I think I talked about this one before. Tells you what instruments were used. The following instruments were used in these recordings: Wurlitzer, JX3P synth, MS20 synth, D50, DX100, Omnichord, kalimba, vibraphone, guitar, bass, drums, congas, assorted percussion. So just hearing that gives you an idea of what's going on, I think. I don't know if this is still gettable, not sure, but from 2020, Music from Memory. And that's everything I played in the show. And these a few more I brought with me but did not play. I played this a lot on the show recently, so I didn't get to it, but definitely an overdubbed Visionary, Valentina Magaletti's Queer Anthology of Drums. This is maybe her signature record. Some amazing moments on this. This one didn't quite fit. I gotta listen to this to see if I want to keep it. Robert Archer's Nature's Dream Harp, a little like the harp record, the Harp on the Hill. The wind harp, but not really. It's an electronic record with very much of a drone sensibility running throughout. This is dead stock. The record is original. The sleeve is a reproduction. So that's one of those sort of Frankenstein's situations. Deva Harp 1. Alien music played by the summer wind. So yeah, it is almost a companion to the wind harp record, which I do have and love that. So, alien music. This is one I want to get on one of my shows soon, but it's kind of hard because it's 2 long pieces, side-long pieces, an amazing record. I got the last WFMU record, Bill Holt's Dreamies. I don't know, he doesn't credit anyone else, but this sounds like a psychedelic, full blown out experience, essentially. Program 10 and Program... It's just 2 different programs, as they call it. An incredible mental experience. Program 10 and 11, 1973 on the Stone Theater label. This is when you kind of have to needle drop and see where it lands. It's kind of hard to play a specific track from this. But I believe it's all made by him. At least he doesn't credit anyone else, so you don't really know. New age record, and maybe doesn't quite fit the bill because it's, a solo artist just using synthesizers. I kind of wanted to focus on artists who are utilizing multiple instruments, like that they're all playing at the same time. As far as like, it's a little easier to do with a synthesizer. Not that I don't love that stuff. Obviously, I have this record, but J.D. Emanuel's second record, Wizard's Incantation, on his own. I think it's North Star Productions. It's all synthesizer music. arranged, composed, performed, and recorded by J.D. Emanuel. His instrumentation is a Crumar organ and sequential circuits Pro 1 synthesizer. So it does fit the criteria what I'm talking about, but I was trying to focus a little less on completely synthesizer records, because there's a lot of those. So I was looking for something a little bit more sort of varied. Ich Schneiflights on the Auf dem Nil label. This one I didn't play, so I won't talk too much about it. I got this recently. It was in a vinyl absorption. This is from the mid-'80s. This has got some harsh moments to it. It's really, really amazing stuff. So that's it. That was Threading the Needle. I just called this show Solo Visionaries. Again, the link to the show is below. Every other Saturday, you can just tune into the show too on WRFI Community Radio, WRFI.org. So yeah, figured I'd show you everything that turned up there on the radio show. So hope you dug that, and you take care.